Hey Codex,
Yes.
can you show me a cozy science fiction fantasy new release that has a strong female protagonist? And can we also make sure that there's a vengeful god demon?
Isolating frequency.
Sweet.
On screen.
My name is Darren Sparks, an author and pretend astronaut. I accidentally shot myself out an airlock and then got picked up by a wormhole. Now I'm lost in some distant part of the omniverse, stuck on a channel, a YouTube channel, full of strange alien life forms and a talking AI. Help me. Listen, please. Is there anybody out there who can hear me?
Darren Sparks versus the Omniverse. Transmitting from outside reality.
Sometimes I read something from another writer and it really excites me, and I think about how I want to talk to the world about it, and I rely on you to be that person who I talk to about books I'm excited about. So I just finished a new release that's coming out this September. It is called Sandymancer, and it is by David Edison, and it is pretty fucking badass. I was totally surprised. It was not something I was expecting, and I want to talk to you about it. Okay, so in the story, we follow a young Caralee as she journeys through the wastelands of the Glass Gardens, which used to be a quite abundant world full of vegetation and greenery and beautiful things, and now it's all just basically a desert wasteland. And she is on a quest to not only save her friend, but also uncrack the mystery of this wasteland. And I was really pleasantly surprised with with the story, with the way it all worked out. But I was really excited with the fact that I thought I was reading a fantasy novel, like just a straight up fantasy novel, until about halfway through. And then things started happening that made me go, like that's world building in a pretty serious way. Oh, okay, there's these other things going on. And so throughout the whole experience, especially through the last half of the book, I was on the edge of my seat. I fell in love with the characters. I liked the magic system a lot. It is one of the things that a lot of authors, magic systems are so done, right? Like we see a lot of repetition, and in this, that is not the case. And in fact, it's so not the case that when we do get the big reveal and hints are kind of laid out and stacked appropriately, it's not that you're not surprised, but it's that you kind of felt something coming, and the reveal is really quite exciting. So one of the things that I loved the most were the critters, which kind of in my head are like, I don't know, like little isopods that they kind of latch lassos to, and they use them to pull carts around, which is like super fun to me. I grew up, of course, with like the Jim Henson Studio, cool sci-fi stuff. I had Farscape, and of course, Labyrinth and things like that. And so I grew up with these big creatures and the ability to kind of foresee that, yes, this is totally something that must be played out. And so when we're going through and the author is explaining the world, it really felt like a mash of some of my most favorite fantasy and sci-fi. I don't want to call them tropes because they're not really tropes, but just the world building elements. And so having certain elements pull in to create this really beautiful world, even though it's a wasteland, you're still getting these really beautiful things. Again, the magic system was badass. And I am like a stickler for magic systems. And I really liked the way that this one unraveled, and it's not all spoon-fed to you. You really have to go through, and because the information, the knowledge is lost. And so a big part of this is retrieving that. And what I like about Caralee is that while she's on this journey to like save her friend, she's also on this journey to find out as much as she can, not just about her own ability as a Sandymancer, but also as a person who is part of a world that has lost so much. And so I really like her. She's spunky. She has her own agency. It's very much kind of does remind me of that idea of like She's on this quest to go save her friend who's, this beautiful, dumb boy is kind of what it sounds like. And on her way to save him. And all of this happens pretty quickly early on. So it's not like the exposition isn't like forever and ever. Like the thing that gets you into the action of the story, that's all like pretty early on within the first 2 chapters. And then you know where you're going, you know what you're looking for. Like we are on a journey. And even when the changes and the shifts and the pivots and things go down, what's really exciting is that you are piecing together this very big picture. And like I said, I didn't realize that I was reading a sci-fi fantasy until about halfway through. I thought it was just a fantasy. And then these things start to happen and you're like, oh. And it really makes you think about a lot of things, actually. It makes you think about a lot of stories. And I was telling my friends that I think it kind of reminds me of Wheel of Time not because of like the channeling, not like the magic system, that's not why. And not because of the Ajas or any of that stuff, or the Aes Sedai, not because of that, but because of the idea that we have this cyclical kind of thing going on, and that civilizations have risen and fallen. And, that idea has always really been fascinating to me. It always plays out really well. And we kind of get hints of that kind of thing going on. And there's still so much more. Like, I can't wait for the follow-up to it. I'm really looking forward to the follow-up to it. So anyway, I wanted to share it with you. I thought it was really exciting. I think it's totally worth pre-ordering. Even though I got it in a NetGalley, I still pre-ordered it because I want the hardback. And I'm looking forward to talking about it more with you once it's out and once it's in people's hands. But if you see this come up as a pre-order possibility, you absolutely should. I checked earlier. It is on Barnes & Noble and on the Amazons. So definitely pre-order. It's totally worth it. And in this case, the author's doing something pretty fun. And so I'm excited because I've been reading a lot of like very gruesome, violent things, and this isn't that. So yeah, so that's my 2 cents. I definitely say check this out, get it on pre-order, and tell me what you think. So what are your thoughts? Have you read it? Did you get your hand on a copy? How did you get your hands on the copy? What are your thoughts? Did you like the way it ended? And most importantly, did you like Eusebius? Eusebius is my favorite character in the whole the whole book. And so I finished this a week ago, and I thought about Eusebius every single day. And so I think you will too. And so I want to know, what do you think about Caralee? What do you think about Eusebius? And what do you think about the way the story unfolded? Comment below, and we'll be back. I'll be back. Codex and I will be back with more stuff later on.
Darren Sparks vs. the Omniverse is produced and distributed by Satyrs Inc., a queer indie company. For more Darren Sparks, including his current projects, visit www.darrensparks.com. Support the Omniverse by joining Darren on Patreon and get exclusive content, merch, and more. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Darren desperately needs your validation.